Economics and politics are the foundation of human development.
While forming the world's earliest civilizations, Africans also laid the groundwork for the creation of economic systems.
By learning from our history, we gain the strength to empower the present and design the future. Presenting the premier forum for truth, culture, and change. HAPI Talks. Join us as we unlock the secrets to our success. Peace, family.
Peace, peace. What's good? Happy family. What's going on, Fee?
Well, lots is going on. Listen, Detroit won. We're going to, while people coming in, what's up, Doriel? She the first cat up in here. Doriel has traveled with us. But yeah, everything is good. Detroit basketball did well today. We're moving on. That's good.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'm not a Knick fan, so I'm not even going to come back with you with any kind of, anything. You know what I'm saying? My team is Golden State, so I'm out of it. We out of it. I'm pretty much just coasting. I'm just watching the entertainment.
For entertainment, yeah. I can't. No, I'm not. I'm not watching it. I can't watch it because it's too nerve-wracking. But what I can do is get the updates from Taki. That's what I can do because that looking. Oh no, it's just way too much. Yeah,
he's a big time Knick fan. Big time Knick fan. And Nawari will probably creep in here at some point and say something about the Knicks in the comments. And we ain't even talking about the Knicks, but he'll probably say something about the Knicks in the comments. But he's big time Knick fan.
Wait. I see somebody. Why is somebody in the comments? You Detroit fan and you live in New York? What? Detroit fan? I'm from the D. Oh my God. I'm from Detroit. Dr. Patah, Health Chronicles. I am from Detroit, East Side. Anyway, yes. And so, I always find myself in a bit of a, but listen, I have a full Detroit gear, like wardrobe, and I have a full Knicks wardrobe just in case. Yeah. And I have Tigers. I can't do the Yankees. I can't, but yeah. All right.
Yeah, so before we get into our show, because we got a good show. We got Crystal Gunn. She's a financial healer and alchemist.
Yes.
She's gonna give us some enlightenment on, how we can do better for ourselves internally and with our finances. But before we get to that, let's just make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment on this video. Comment, please. Very important. Go to our HAPIfilm.com and check out our clearance sale. We got a lot of t-shirts left. Or what?
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. I am preoccupied with Dr. Patah Health Chronicles up here in the comments. He's like, go back to Detroit, you're not loyal. Oh my God. You know what? Listen, I'm not, little Dr. Patah, we're going to have a little conversation off screen. I just like to have if you know me, I like to have all my bases covered. But I'm 100% from the D. Listen, my first kid was born the last year the Detroit Pistons won a championship. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you've been in New York for a long time though.
Over 20 years, but I'm still from the D. Yeah. Like I still drink Faygo Pop and Better Made chips. Like what? I mean, come on.
Whatever that is.
And burners, exactly. See,
I don't know what that is.
Anyway, yes, we have t-shirts. We do. We have some t-shirts left, but we're gonna be busting out something new in summertime. So, family, if you want to get the vintage HAPI, you might want to go ahead and secure your HAPI merchandise now.
Definitely do that. Yeah. So also subscribe to all of our platforms, our YouTube channel. Follow us on HAPI Film on Instagram. Follow us on HAPI Film on Facebook. We keep y'all up to date with a lot of things. We put out a lot of good things on there as well. Also help us get to 40K. We creeping slowly, but we need y'all to help us get to 40K. That's going to be something big for us right there. Also check out our HAPI Film /documentary. Good film, very good film. Very well put together. A lot of hard work went into this. Very historical, very enlightening. Check. You could check that out on Amazon Prime, Quayle, and Tubi TV. All right. Did we ever find out if we're saying Quayle right? It is Quayle and not Quayle, right? It is Quayle. All right. Cool. All right. I gotta tell Shabazz. I'm about to tell Shabazz that.
Yeah. No, I sent him a voice text the next day, and I said it's Quayle TV.
Oh, you did?
That kept making me like doubt myself, and I was like, man, how these two gentlemen make me doubt myself about Quayle TV. When I met this woman before, it was like before when she first got started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also stay connected with us through our newsletter. See, we give you a lot of different options how you can, stay informed, stay in tune with us. So go to hapifilm.com, click stay connected, sign up for our newsletter. You'll get our newsletter on a monthly basis. The newsletter will keep you informed with things that are going on in the community, which is very important because a lot of times we may not see what's going on in our communities.
Mm-hmm.
We may see a few things here or there on YouTube, and you're definitely not going to see nothing on the news, like some enlightening empowerment, stories. You're definitely not going to see that, but we definitely have some empowering stories in our newsletter and some empowering people as well. And I'm sure Crystal Gunn is going to be in the newsletter.
Absolutely. She's going to stay up in that bad boy. Definitely. Yeah, she got so much good stuff. Yeah. And that's, and thank you. You know what, Hassan, you're right. It's like the local stuff, but also it's like, it's a different way of thinking. Like we put things in a newsletter that makes you just think about things just a different way from a whole bunch of different people. So yeah, it's definitely something that you want to be subscribing. Plus, we have some new little stuff we're going to be announcing later on this month. So you just want to be the first person to know stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe people don't want to like to be the first person. I like to be the first person to know stuff. I like to get, information first. So
yeah, well, the thing about upcoming things that we have, it's good to be the first person to know things, specifically when it comes to certain stuff.
Yeah.
You never know what you may get out of being
Absolutely.
the first person to know something, to respond to something. You never know.
Yeah.
But, hint.
Yeah. Hint. Yep. We're just saying. Yes. And then, yes, our 3 signature experiences and 1 sacred journey. So family, listen, this is going to be, I cannot wait. I spoke to somebody yesterday who just paid their whole trip all together. He's like, listen, I'm just going to pay everything right now because I am so excited. Like they are just like getting geared up for this. Her and her best friend are going. And the thing about this trip is that, or about this particular person, she traveled with us years ago. And so, she's always, been checking in with us. And that's the lovely thing about traveling with HAPI is that we have like repeat customers, that keep coming back. They bring other people. We have such a good time. It's the best of both worlds. You get education, the history piece, but then you also get a chance to relax. You get to party, but this trip right here, August 20th through September 1st, we have 3 different experiences, 1 sacred journey. So the first one is Senegal, Ghana, and Togo. That's from August 20th to August 30th. Then we have Senegal or Morocco. And if you just want to do that trip, that one is from August 25th to September 1st. Or you can do all 4 countries, Senegal, Togo, Morocco, and Ghana. And that one's from August 20th to September 1st. And the best thing about this, there's a couple of things that's really nice about this trip. But if anybody knows historian Robin Walker, like he's going to be with us. Like, that's all I got to say. Robin Walker will be with us. He's going to fly into Senegal. So it don't matter which trip you do. Everyone will get a chance to meet and hang out with him while we're in Senegal.
And also, he's hanging out with us. So get your questions ready.
Absolutely.
That's the perfect time to get your questions ready for this dynamic scholar. He's
Yeah.
dynamic. He has a lot of information. He's boots on the ground.
Yeah. And if you've read his book, which every HAPI subscriber should have read his book, When We Ruled, you can bring it, have him sign it. I don't know if I think the book is out of print. I think that's what he told me, because I was like, you need to bring some books with you. And I think he told me it was out of print. So if you have a copy, or you can, find a copy, bring it so he can sign it, and, just sit down. I mean, this is, when we start thinking about like some, our great historians, they're getting older, and we have the opportunity. They're still like right there. They're accessible.
Yep.
So if you have the opportunity to come make this trip, it's a good look.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. So it doesn't matter which trip you go on. All trips will be, be in Senegal at the same time, and we will, have a chance to partake and hang out with him. And also, I'm celebrating just be quiet. Just be quiet. Just be quiet, Hassan. I'm celebrating my birthday in Senegal. It's my first time celebrating my birthday actually in Africa, because we usually either go way before or after. So this is going to be really nice. And then we're going to celebrate it. I'm going to celebrate it in Senegal. So all the trips, we're going to all be together in Senegal, and we're going to have a good time. This trip, so the pricing that you see online, it includes everything. It includes your flight from the United States to Africa, all the flights in between, the buses that we'll be on that are air conditioned, okay, our hotels, our food, and all, like the interest fees to all the different places we're going to be going to, like Goree Island. There's a naming ceremony. We're going to partake in a libations ceremony. We're going to the Museum of Black Civilization, Elmina. Like, we're going to be all over Africa getting it in. And so, this is the time. And family, we only have a few seats left at the pricing we have now. And you already saw what happened with Little Spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Spirit Air couldn't get their little stuff together with the and I saw an interview and the CEO was talking about the gas prices. Like, it's real. So, the price that that you solidify right now, it locks in the pricing that we have now. And so, family, once we have to go back and get additional tickets, we don't even know what that looks like. So if I were you, if you can put down the deposit, I ain't trying to tell you what to do with your money, especially when we have a money guru coming on. But I'm just saying, if you want to have a good time and get and invest in yourself, this is a good trip. Like, it's really a good trip.
Definitely.
Yeah. You got
and
some
also people, don't forget to share some HAPI love. HAPI love is donating to our Cash App, $ HAPI Food. Help us out with a donation. It gets us closer to certain opportunities that we need to be at. So throughout this interview, feel free to donate to our Cash App.
Yep. And and it's, the monies that we get from our donations, it goes right back into the Black community. And the other piece is helping us to be able to produce our in-studio sessions. And if you've had a chance, you can just go into our YouTube page and check out our in-studio sessions. Those are nice. I mean, aesthetically, they look really good, but it's some really powerful conversations. So we want to make sure that you are, that if you can help us, that you help us, because money goes a long way. And so we really appreciate that. All right.
So let's welcome our financial healer. Let's welcome our financial healer alchemist. Actually, she's a financial healer and alchemist. She helps individuals, families, and communities heal their financial foundations and design soul-aligned systems that lead to legacy, power, and liberation.
Yes.
She's not here just to talk about money. She's here to help you remember who we are through it. In our hands, money is medicine and a sacred tool for healing generational wounds, restoring our sense of worth, and funding the futures of our ancestors' dreams for us.
Yeah.
When we use money with intention, money becomes more than transactions. It becomes transformation, creating freedom, softness, and power that ripple through our families and our communities. She dedicated her life to restoring our collective relationship with wealth, power, and purpose, guiding people to break free from survival patterns, claim their inheritance, and build legacies that endure for generations. Please welcome Sister Kristen.
Wait. And
What?
you didn't say she from the D.
Oh,
She from the D. She from the D. What's up?
okay.
What up, though? What up, though?
What up, though?
What's up?
Hassan, you got me hyped after reading all of that. Let's get
I was hyped reading it earlier today. I was hyped because you offer financial advice and suggestions by way of healing.
Yeah.
Which this is different than what we normally may hear from a financial analyst or what else is there, financial advisor, so forth and so on. So you go at it a little bit different. So first and foremost, before we even get to what you actually do and what you provide and what you help with, just give us a little bit of background. We know you from Detroit.
Oh, you don't say the part again.
You can say it again if you want to.
I was literally about to say, I was like, she from the D, but go ahead.
Yes, just give us some background of, how you grew up and, any schools that you may have went through and your experience to get you to where you are now.
Okay, let's go all the way back. Since I'm from Detroit, I graduated from Cat Tech High School. Let me just throw that in there, right? Michigan State University. So go green, go white for high school and college. Interesting. If you would have asked me all of those years ago, would I be doing this? I would have told you no. I probably didn't know at all what I was going to be doing. I went to college for business administration. I landed in working in an accounting department at a credit union and went to another credit union to train them on their system. They had transferred to the system that we were using. And so we worked with them for, a month. And then that president of that credit union offered me a job as the accounting manager. But they had an accounting manager. And I said, well, wait, you got one. And she was out on extended maternity leave. And he was like, well, whoever rises to the top gets to keep the position. Okay, say less. I got this. So she came back and she quit shortly after because she didn't get the position, right? And so I went from that to then becoming vice president of that credit union. And it's crazy because that was probably like 7 years ago. And at that time, I was the only Black VP in the entire Oakland County chapter of credit unions. So it was a very interesting career to maneuver. Got married after that. Me and my husband at that time started a mortgage company. So did that, got divorced 5 years into that. We had an incredible daughter in the process. I have, owned a tax franchise. I have run a housing counseling agency, done, mortgage loans. So serial entrepreneur, always somehow in this field. And then in 2022, I like to say I retired from corporate America and just knew that I could have more impact outside of that. And that landed me into, I had already been doing financial education, right? But the lens shifted once I quote unquote retired and then moved into this financial healing space, because what I learned was, Hassan, what you said in the beginning, like what was being taught, and you go to workshops, you hear these people come in and not saying anything is wrong with what they're giving, but we were missing a very crucial point, I think. And that was where the healing piece comes in, right? Because everybody has a personal financial relationship, but it wasn't defined by you and it doesn't work in your favor. So it was defined by what we inherited generationally. I'm not talking about assets, what we saw growing up in our communities, churches, schools, and in our homes, what we were taught, what we weren't taught, what we were told, what we overheard when we shouldn't have been listening, right? Then what happened in life, who let us down, what traumas, what losses, what experiences, social media, music, TV, television, all of us telling how we're supposed to spend our money. And it doesn't work in our favor. And under that are all of these financial wounds and all of these layers that are running in the background. And then we just think we bad with money. I'm like, no, that's not it. We got to heal those wounds in order to be able to hold the money that comes into our hands, because it's a lot of money that rolls through our hands. We just don't know how to operate with it. Or if we do, those wounds are messing it up. So all of that is where I am and what I do. And I absolutely love it, because to see somebody heal a wound and then elevate to another level financially is top tier. So I'm all about financial liberation for my people.
Absolutely. I came across you because, almighty Instagram, and I was just scrolling along and I heard you, you were talking, you said something about money and then comedic. I was like, huh? Because those two things are not something that are usually said together, right? And so that's what started me like looking at, like following you, because I was like, okay, like, wow, she's not like browbeating us and telling us how bad, we are and we should be, all these things. But it was really from a loving, more holistic manner. And so when did it switch for you? What was when did it really switch for you and say, okay, no, I really need to get into this piece right here with the healing?
You know what? Because I have literally 20 years of my life been on my own healing journey, right? And so you get to see, when you've gone through some healing, you get to see the unhealedness, right, in our community. And again, I've been in this financial space. I've done, workshops in the community for financial education. And I'm like, yeah, this just us not being able to get it is just not really our fault. So, right, when you're walking in your path, right, things just come to you. And it was like, you got to switch. You can't just do education. You got to go back to who we are. And so it is a reclamation. So part of my job is, one, like you said, to remind us who we are. Because sometimes we just think that all this stuff didn't start with us, right? You know what I mean? They'll have us believe our history just started, with slavery and we weren't rulers and all of that and taught everybody everything and stuff was extracted. No, I got to go back and show you, because the reason I have to show you that too is because that's still an underlying wound. It's running your money story. And so if you recognize it and know it, plus you was like, well, wait a minute, right? There was credit systems in Kemet for 500 years before there was ever a Visa for 5,000 years before there was ever a Visa and a MasterCard. People don't know that. But if I tell you that, then you stand a little different and you say, okay, well, wait a minute. We're not who they try to tell us that we are. This is who we are. And so that's why it's always about a reclamation, because we have to reclaim what was ours. But if you can't reclaim what you don't know and what you don't remember. So then I'm like, okay, when you know all of those things, now you understand why you need to know these systems and dominate in them, not in competition with anybody, but the numbers are easy. We just got to get past all of this other stuff. So it was like, you got to tell people how they were intentionally pulled out of rhythm. And when you get back into rhythm, right, stuff just automatically starts to heal inside of you. So that is my role and my responsibility. And that was about a year ago that it was like, this regular just talking about a credit score and what makes up a credit score, it's not enough. Because if it were, right, and like with a budget, if a budget could fix everything, it would be fixed, because you can Google budget worksheet and it's 1,000 copies out there. So something has to be holding us back or keeping us from elevating to the way to the level that we should. And so I just help people uncover that.
Yeah. So at what point in your life were you introduced to like Kemetic history and Kemetic spirituality?
Let's see, my daughter will be 25. So literally like 20 years ago. And I just started studying with different people and different things. And I remember I used to study with a guy named Brother Amin, who's gone on with the ancestors, but he had immersed himself into every religion for like years, just studied every religion. And so I wound up just studying under him, and he would talk about the things that were, just the same and true in every religion was peace and love. And he just talked about all of these man-made layers that were just put on top of it. And so, a lot of it out of control. So yeah, about 20 years ago is when I first started. And then, I'm good for going down a rabbit hole. So I love every bit of every piece of it that comes. And so many people don't know, again, and this has nothing to do with intellect. We just don't know because it's been hidden. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just pull back the curtain.
Yeah, definitely. You all right, so you go as a financial healer and an alchemist. So explain to the people, what is the makeup of that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my work sits at the intersection of financial education, financial healing, right? History, just like our history from a spiritual standpoint, and then legacy, right? So it's really, truly, I'm like a financial healer and a legacy alchemist. So I'm going to take what you have, and we gonna create some magic with it, right? Because sometimes people think, well, I don't have any money. I don't have all of this money, and I don't have all of this savings. I can't go meet with somebody who's creating wealth strategies for people. Yes, you can. Right? You come to me for a life insurance policy because I am a licensed life insurance agent, but I'm going to show you how to create a strategy for your family that includes that life insurance, but everything else. And so it's just literally changing and taking what you have and creating this really great plan. I believe we should be thinking 10 generations deep and training every generation to do the same so that we can change and heal our lineage. And then the healing is just going to come up. The more we talk about things, the more I'm going to be able to point out your financial wounds. And then we get to heal them. And as you start to heal them, everything else starts to fall into place because the numbers are easy. It's the wounds that need to be addressed.
Yeah. No, because listen, family, when I had, listen, you can go right. Look, we got the nice little QR code. We busted it out for the first time with Miss Gunn tonight. You can go on there, and she has so many things that you can get access to. So I had signed up, to have like a special, I guess you like a consultation. Consultation. And listen, it's free. You just go in there, you pick a little time. I picked a little time. My little time I picked didn't work the first time, but then, we were able to get it a second time. And I was sitting there talking to her, and I was like, because really a lot of times, like when we're seeing different people that we want to, get access to, we try to get at them on IG or, all these different spots. And so, I was like, this is perfect. I could just take this 20 minutes and talk to her and see if she'll come on Happy Talks. But, by the time I got to the 21st is when I talked to her. I had really started doing a deep dive in what she talks about, what she believes, and how she helps people. So by the time we got on the 21st, the first 2 minutes was like, yo, look, can you come on Happy Talks? She said, oh my God, I'm on Happy Talks. Oh yeah, I just got the Harris. I was like, okay, good. So let me tell you, how do I get to work with you? So I'm really excited, family, that I'm going to be working with her starting on the 7th of this month. And I'm going to take you a ride for the journey. I'm going to take you there and, Oh,
I love that. That's going to be so good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even like me, like just when you start hearing this type of information, and it's because I feel like people know pockets of information, but it's good when you talk to somebody because they just create the road for all of it to connect. Right. And I think that's what, and then the way she is right here is the way she's like everywhere, which which I really, I love when people are just who they are in all spaces, you know, which is nice. So this process of when you work with people, like what are some of the main financial wounds that you come across? Or there's like some that are like a lot of people have?
Survival.
Oh, talk to us about survival.
She said,
Yeah.
Like, to even live in America at this point, there has to be you have to have a certain amount of survival skills, right? But when you start operating from a survival wound and operating, that's your mode of operation, survival every day, right? Survival doesn't allow you to plan for the future. Survival doesn't allow you to be intentional. You got to do what you need to do right now in order to survive whatever the thing is, right?
Yeah.
But when you're in survival mode, it's the same thing, right? It's that same switch that's being hit, like fight or flight mode, right? And so when that happens, it cuts off access to the cortex part of your brain, which is where creative thought and creativity and creative thought, where that is housed, right? And rational thought. And so if now you have a money issue, right? You don't have access to that cortex part of your brain because you're living in survival mode.
Yeah.
You can't even figure how to get out of it. You just keep doing whatever it is you need to do in order to survive. And so we got to tone that down. So that's the number one, right? That's the number one wound. The performer wound is, so there's two sides to that performer wound, right? One is I'm going to spend my money so I can look a certain kind of way, right? So that I can look like I have the money and all of that stuff. Absolutely. It's not chosen. Survival is not chosen. It's definitely engineered by the system. And that's the part where I talk about history, in that where my work goes, showing you the systems and how you got to operate in survival mode in the first place, right? But that performer wound says, I'm going to spend my money so that I can look a certain kind of way. I can have this designer clothes on and all of these things because that's how I show up, and then it makes me feel a certain kind of way. But in the meantime and in between time, I'm 3 months behind on my water bill. You know what I mean? The other side of the performer wound says, look, I'm trying. And you're just in a constant state of trying instead of saying, hey, let me go over here and get with somebody who can help me create a plan. Because right now I'm just working and I'm just this mouse on this treadmill and nothing is coming from it and I can't get anywhere. But you don't know that those wounds are running your decisions. You don't know that it's running your money story. So people go to therapy. They say, you know what? I always pick these bad relationships. People take advantage of me. You know, my self-worth is down. Well, if you have a worthy wound in relationships and all of that, it's also showing up in your money story. But none of that is ever put together. I put it all together and say, okay, so let me show you how it's showing up in your money story. You don't ask for more money at your job. You don't save money because you don't think you're worthy of it. You don't have a retirement plan because you don't think you should have all of these things. But you don't know that that's what's impacting your money story. Again, you just think you bad with money or can't save. And so I can hear in based off what's happening, what you're telling me, what your money looks like. I even created an assessment that's going to tell you what wounds are running your money story. And once you know that awareness, that's the first part of healing. And so I don't care how many budgets or how many cash flow designs we make. I don't care how much money you make. It does not heal those wounds. You have to heal the wounds. It doesn't, just more money doesn't solve the problem. Biggie said it, more money, more problems. Right?
Say that. My Detroit players. Yo, so, oh my God, when you're saying this stuff, I'm just like, this is so true. Just going back to the survival piece. So, you know, what is it that you tell someone when you're in the survival piece? Because I feel like as Black folks, we're just trying to make it happen. We're just like, we got to, we got to pay this, pay that, so we can just be able to just live. So like, what is it? How do you work with someone? That's like the mindset.
So I'm always taking you through a process, right? And so we're creating, I don't like the word budget because budget keeps you in survival mode. So we're creating a cash flow design, right? But
Mm.
while we're doing that, we're also having conversations where those wounds just pop out. Like you're not saying what the wound is, but what you're telling me, I can literally see what that wound is, right?
Yeah.
And so part of this process of when we're creating these numbers for you, this design for you, we get to talk about that wound and we get to figure out, well, where did it come from? Right. So I met a young woman back in January, and she was like, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s, had 2 children. Right. So she is literally up in the morning at 4 or 5 a.m. to go deliver packages. Then she goes to work at her kid's school. Then in the evening, she is back to delivering packages. Right.
Mm.
And she was like, I just can't seem to get ahead. And I said, yeah, because you're living in survival mode. And she was like, yes, but I don't know how to get out of it. Right. And it's not like you walk in a room and switch the light on. That's not the process. It's not just that easy, because you've also been living in survival mode for years. So your nervous system, the moment you try to do something that tries to get you out of survival mode, your nervous system is like, wait, hold on, that's not how we operate.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
brings you right back, because your nervous system only recognizes what's familiar as safe, not what's best for you. So then we got to first see, okay, well, where did the survival wound, where did that mode come from? Was it something that happened in your life that you did not have the money, you had to do whatever it was you had to do, but maybe now your circumstances are changed, but the wound and the way that you operated then are still showing up? Or is it something that you learned? Is this what you saw in your household? I asked her how I said, how do you pay your bills? I didn't ask her when. I asked her, how did she pay her bills? And she said, when the shut off notice comes.
Wow.
Now, you either learned that behavior because you saw it modeled in your household, or there was a time in your life where you did not have enough money. So that's the only time you just had to figure out, what am I paying this time? So now maybe that circumstance isn't still in your life, but the pattern that you created because you had to survive is still happening. And so you just can't look in the mirror and be like, okay, I'm just going to fix this. It is a process. And people someone has childhood trauma and they go start seeing a therapist. They're in therapy for sometimes years, depending upon the level of trauma. Well, that same trauma is showing up in your money story, and you think you can just fix it because somebody gave you a budget worksheet? Nope. It's not happening.
So
no, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So because I think you started to talk about this. I just want you to talk about it a little bit more deeper about the comedic piece. How do you use, and why do you use the comedic piece in healing? Healing people.
Yeah, because it goes back to the reclamation. If we look at let's look at the 7 comedic laws. When we start to look at the laws, we can see everywhere where we've been pulled out of rhythm. Part of healing is going back to the original rhythm, right? That is for us. I don't care how you rename it after it. It was the 7 comedic laws. You can call it, the universal laws, the hermetic principle, whatever. Let's go back to the original, because also who we are. And so when I start to show you how you've been pulled out of who you are, then part of that says you stand a little taller, because you're like, well, wait a minute, right? And that's part of the reclamation. It's like, you can't reclaim what you don't know or what you don't remember. So just part of speaking life back into individuals, because they're not speaking life into themselves and they're beating themselves up. They feel, embarrassed, full of guilt, all of that. And I'm like, no, listen, this is who we were. This is how we ruled. We got to go back to that. And far too many people just don't know those things, or they know bits and pieces of it, but they can't figure out how it shows up for them today. And I'm like, let me just show you how it's showing up for you today, and how you can tap back into that to change everything about your life.
So what type of relationship did the ancient Egyptians have with money?
So, like I said, with the whole credit piece, right? I just did a credit unlocked workshop, and when we talk about credit, then it was for helping, right? It wasn't like credit now is just a total extraction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fees, it's the high interest rates, it's all of the things. But
Yeah.
when they ruled with credit, and they had credit systems that helped their individuals. It wasn't like we're trying to just pull and extract all of this money from you. We literally want you to, right, be able to grow and expand and use this credit system in order to be able to do that, right? So things were just different. Now we're in this true capitalistic society, as opposed to creating systems that want to help individuals.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so when you know that, and then you know this system, you then understand, okay, well, now I understand this system, but now I know how to better operate in this system. But I just think the history of who we are is really, really important, because again, it gives us, it's that taking back our power, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and when you talk about credit, I remember credit back in the 70s, and I'm pretty sure it was even before then, when my mother used to send me to the store with a note saying,
Yes.
can I have $2 worth of chicken wings and some rice and some soda and so forth and so on.
Absolutely.
They would give it to you on credit.
Credit.
Because they want you to still keep coming back to the store.
For sure.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
they didn't add anything on top of that. There were no extra fees, anything like that. It was pretty much on the strength, we want you to come back. So it sounds like you're a therapist as well. It sounds like therapy.
So we do therapists. I am not a licensed therapist. Working with me will get you to a therapist, right? But therapy never gets you to me, right? Because there's not one, it's not taught that it's showing up in your that what you're going to therapy for shows up in your financial wound. And what I have found is those individuals who have a therapist, when they work with me, they do so much better, because when that wound or whatever the healing is comes up, I'm like, well, now you can go, like, we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to show you how it's showing up, but you still have to heal the wound, and that therapist is going to, help create a plan for you in order to heal whatever that wound is.
Got you. Because you have a phrase that you say, what you saw, what you taught, what you heard, what you heard, what you weren't taught when you were growing up impacts you for the rest of your life. Right. So when do people start talking about those things, and then like a lot comes out during that process?
Absolutely. So, and I'll give you an example. So one of the things that we do is when we're looking at the numbers, right? So once we have all of these expenses that you spend, and then we plug in actually how much money you make. Well, there's a dip. Typically, there is a gap from what your expenses are to how much money you make, right? It's that gap that people aren't intentional with, right? We intentionally pay our bills if we got the money, but that money that's left over that doesn't have a job, we just blow it. But anyway, this woman had like probably $1,800 still that we needed to assign a job to for every single month, right? She couldn't even look at the number.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it on, on via Zoom, and she could see the spreadsheet. And I said, okay, well, hold on. Tell me why you can't look at that number. And she says, because I believe what she said was, when money is sitting in her bank account, and it showed because there was no money in her account. She didn't have any savings. She says, when money is sitting in her account, she feels like she has to spend it so it's not taken from her. I'm like, okay, well, say more, right? And for her, it was, tragedy, emergency always comes up so that the money is taken from her. And she's like, I just need to spend it, because sitting in the bank, something's gonna happen for that money to be taken from me. But I didn't just show up. Something happened in her life. You know what I'm saying? I had somebody else say that when she was a child, her father came in the room and asked her if he could borrow the money that she had saved from, uh, working around the house, birthday, her allowance that was sitting in her piggy bank. And he said, I need to borrow that money. And she said, well, how much? And he was like, well, all of it. And she says, okay. And he said, but don't worry, I'll give it back to you.
Mhm.
It's her father. She gave him all of the money that he never gave back to her.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? So that wound is still running, that you either don't trust men with money. It's going to show up some kind of way in your money story. So that's the type of thing. And then I'm like, okay, well, I need you to go talk about that with your therapist, though, because I'm not clinically trained to help you solve that issue. But those sort of things still show up in your money story. So now my client thinks I'm just not good with saving money. No. There is a reason why you can't save money. You make it, and that's why I say, well, it doesn't matter how much money you make. The wound is going to dictate what you do and how you operate with your money.
Yeah. You said every dollar should have a job. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yep. So that's where intentionality comes from, right? And so every dollar should have a job. How do you want to live your life today, tomorrow, in the future, and then for the next generation? So you get paid, you pay your bills. Well, those dollars have a job to pay those bills. Well, what are you doing with the rest of the money once the bills are paid? That's where we're not intentional. Okay, well, if you like to travel, why are you not putting money away in a travel account? If you're saving something for the future, you need to put that money away. If for entertainment, for self-care, for travel, for shopping, and all those things, if you have money set aside for shopping, you're not running up a credit card because you got the money sitting there, right? If you know what I mean? If you drink, if you smoke, whatever the vice is that you have, you need to put money aside for that thing so it doesn't wind up disrupting the rest of your workflow. So now I get paid and I just want to go out this weekend. Okay, well, where's the money in the entertainment account?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any, but I want to just go out. So now, guess what? I can't pay my light bill because I went out and I spent too much money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you become intentional with that, you really get to live the life that you desire and deserve. And I always say deserve because we've been conditioned to desire less than we deserve. But then you get to live that life and you're not running up credit because now you want to travel. You know what I mean? You just get to do all of the things. And I had someone, a friend of one of my goddaughters once said, she was like, Miss Crystal, I need to work with you. And then I saw her and I was like, I thought you said you was coming to work with me. And she said, well, I'm scared you're going to tell me I can't get my hair and nails done. And I was like, I'm not telling you that. That's part of the plan. Like all of those things are a must, just like paying the gas bill and light bill. I think that's more, taking care of self is more important than those other things. And you just got it. So every job should have a job and every dollar should have a job. And then when that happens, right? And you start to see, oh, wait, we want to plan this trip and I got this money sitting here. Like you then start to rethink about the things that are important to you. Okay, I'm just going out to spend money because I want to spend money. Then you're like, well, wait, what would I rather spend this money on? Do I just want to blow it because I got it? Or am I going to be more intentional with it?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm still back in ancient.
I'm laughing because that's how me and Felicia's whole conversation went before. She was like,
I was like, and I was like, yeah, because it's just, I don't know, a lot of times this is like what you said, you kind of just keep kind of talking about something, but when you're asking for the universe to help you, and then when like help just comes right there and you just act like you don't see it, you're like, okay, you kind of get tired of doing that, so you just have to say, let's make it an appointment on May 7th. So when you talk about what are the 7 laws, the 7 Kemetic laws, or just like a couple of them? You don't have to,
So let's just look at the law of rhythm, right? Everything has a rhythm. Think about how we as women have been pulled out of rhythm. Our bodies operate in rhythm, right? And so if we switch the calendar and now we got 12 months instead of 13 months, then you've already taken a woman's body out of rhythm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's So when you start looking at all of those things, every single one of them can literally show you where we're out of rhythm, and that rhythm literally just keeps us uneasy, upside down, can't even think straight, right? And so going back to that center says, oh, okay, well, wait, let me get back into my rhythm, right? And so when we think about the rhythm of the woman, right? Everything that we create comes from that womb. If our womb is out of rhythm, then what are we doing, right? So then you got the law of mentalism. All is mine. We right? So we're not even thinking with intentionality about what it is that we want. Everything starts with that thought. As above, so below, the law of correspondence, right? But every one of those, when we start just thinking about how far we've been pulled out of rhythm, it's like, well, no wonder we can't operate the way that we should be, because again, when you look at the person out on that dance floor and they don't have no rhythm, don't they look out of place? That's how we walking around being pulled out of rhythm, right? So everything has two poles, cause and effect, like all of the things, and it shows up. Every one of these really will show up in your money story as well. It's not just how you operate in relationship. It also operates, in your money story. You got to have the feminine energy as well as the masculine energy in your money story as well, because they operate differently. Masculine is more about structure, right? Feminine is more about, okay, well, let's just do these things. We're more creative and all of that thing. Well, you need both of them in your money story in order for your money story to be right. And so when we're intentionally pulled out of those things, then we literally cannot operate in the way. So, it becomes hard. And then when we don't know, because we didn't even know these laws existed and that's how we operated before, right? And then you start to feel like, oh my God, I am out of rhythm with this stuff. Okay, well, that's
yeah. Oh yeah. I'm out of rhythm.
And then there's also,
I'm just, as you're thinking, I'm thinking about all this stuff. I'm thinking about my money story. I'm thinking about all these different things. Yeah.
And the one thing that I always say is, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Right. So we won't go get the help that silence won't, right? We either didn't talk about it in our house. Now we don't talk about it when we're grown and don't live in the house with parents anymore. We don't talk about it in relationships. We don't have money conversations with our friends. We won't even go get help when we need to go get help. Right. It's that silence wound. Well, why not? You know how many times people say, oh, I'm so embarrassed and ashamed about my money story. And I'm like, why? Who taught you how to do this? When you go get a job, they're going to show you and train you how to do certain things. Who taught you how to do this? You think you was just supposed to figure it out? And so part of my work is helping people to release the shame so that they can get the help that they need. Because it ain't about shame. It's not it. We got to do something different if we want liberation.
So when you talk about being ashamed, so I'm sure you've come across, quite a few times someone's ashamed. They don't want to give you the whole story or, the backstory. So in a case like that, where someone does that, are you able to help them?
Yeah, because at some point they're gonna have to give me the backstory. Like we just go, because I'm gonna call them out on it. Like I'm like, no, what are we? Usually by the time they get to me, they've crossed over the shame piece and they're just gonna spill it. But every once in a while, there is somebody that comes that's not giving you all of the things. But I'm also very intuitive, and so I know and can hear the things that you aren't saying. So I'm gonna ask questions, and then it just comes out, and I'm like, listen, we can't get past it if you're not. Why are you gonna work with me if you don't want to tell the truth? Because as my best friend always says, lie to everybody else, but don't lie to yourself. So when you're not gonna speak your truth, you're lying to yourself. True. It's like time is out for that.
Yeah, true.
When they say the truth will set you free, it really will.
Yeah. Is there such a thing as not making enough money?
Okay, wow, Hassan, I don't typically get stumped, and you just did that. Okay. So I think there's really two sides to that coin. So what I first went to was just the whole economics of what's happening in the world, and everything just is intentionally super crazy expensive, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, there are some times where you just are not making enough money. But here is what I have found, right? Sometimes the not making enough money is when we look at what you're spending your money on, you got to make some cuts, right? Like you have to cut some things out.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes you have to cut out those things that you want to do because you don't make enough money that's sustaining your lifestyle. But before we start, uh, you know, so I had a client that came to me a couple years ago, and she was like $1,200 in the negative every single month. That's a
Wow.
hard place. That's a lot of money to make up, right?
That's rough. Yeah.
But when we start plugging the numbers in, it became very clear why on paper she was, she was like, well, I put $300 in a savings account every single month. And that was part of that $1,200 in the negative because you be putting $300 away. But in reality, she wasn't putting $300 away. She was putting it in the account physically, but every month she got to go back and get it because she wasn't making enough money. But as we started to put the things in that cash flow design system, well, you got $800 over here that you're spending on 2 timeshares that you can't even go to. Because, so we had to work to get her to par. And then it was like, now here's par, but really the life you want to live. And I mean, this was bare minimum.
Yeah.
But the life you want to live means you got to make more money.
Yeah. Those good old timeshares.
Man. I was like, why you can't even travel to the timeshares?
Man.
Yeah, there's like a some type of compensation because somebody sued one of the like I think one of the biggest timeshare conglomerates or whatever. So in fact, if you have a timeshare, you might be able to get some money,
right.
From them because they were, it's almost those practices like where they what's the practice like when you're habitually like stealing from people, but it's considered a business. I can't think of the word.
Right.
But, predatory. Like Wells Fargo. Yeah, like predatory. Yeah. That's what they were saying. But so, like going back, well, not going back, but this idea of of making more money or just kind of having a certain lifestyle, like sometimes when I'm talking to my friends about money, a lot of them feel like, oh, I want to do such and such. They don't even think about cutting. They're just like, or if something's like very expensive, like some type of luxury thing, they're not thinking about like, oh, okay, let me figure out a way to kind of make this happen. They're kind of like, oh, I just need to figure out how to way to be able to pay for it. Even if the money is like, if it's the price of something is very, very high. So like, what is your philosophy on that?
So, okay. I think everything goes back to why are you doing a thing and what are the things that are important to you, right? Because the same things aren't important to everybody. So I'm not saying don't have the things, have all of the things, but don't have so much of the things that it keeps you from living the life that you really want or from the things that are most important to you. So when I ask people, how do you want to live your life from this day forward? It's some variation of, oh, I never thought about it, right? And then you have to also ask yourself, why is this thing so important that I will jack up my financial story to get it? Is it a performer wound, right? Or is it just that I like nice things? Okay, if you like nice things, then let's create a system that allows you to buy the things that you want to buy, right? When you want to buy them, but it doesn't have a negative impact on your story. Now, the money's not going to lie. It's going to show you, ma'am, you can't, you can't buy all of these things. Okay. Had a client. This isn't a luxury thing, but it's just like the same concept, right? So, and this is somebody who makes pretty decent money and then gets a bonus at the beginning of the year. Well, when we're going through this thing, and people will always say what they'll give up. And she was like, oh no, well, I just won't get my nails done. Okay, we're going to see how long it lasts. I'm going to just let you say that, but I believe it needs to be in your cash flow design, right? Although there was no room in it. Once all of the bills, all of the things, there was no room for you getting your nails done. So a couple sessions later, we're on Zoom and she's talking, and I'm like, oh, wait, your nails are done. Let's talk about this thing, right? And so she started laughing, but she was getting her annual bonus was coming up. And I said, so what we need to do is take money from your bonus, right? And set it aside for you to be able to get your nails done. So she was like, okay. So she was supposed to come back and tell me what we were doing with this budget money. And she had $2,400 for nails. And I said, wait, what? For the year? And she was like, well, yeah, because I like the designs. I said, okay, well, can you not get designs every time, but you still get to go get your nails done? So it just becomes this thing of what's the thing that works. Saying you're not going to do it when it's something that you love, you got to do it. So now she's like, okay, yeah. So she gets her nails done, but they're plain. You know what I mean? They're colored, whatever, no designs. And when she's doing something or she's going to an event, that's when she's getting it done. So we cut $2,400 down because we needed to use that money for something else. But it's those things you just, okay, I don't want to give it all up, but what's the happy median that doesn't break the bank and doesn't run your credit cards up sky high again? Now you're paying interest on something that, you know, costs $5,000 and you paying $20,000 in interest because you only paying that minimum payment every single month. You never gonna pay that off, right? So you just got to figure out, and what of these things make sense again for how I want to live my life. I don't watch like TV, so I don't like have cable. I got Amazon because I got Amazon Prime, so I got Prime, you know, TV. I got Netflix and Hulu because my daughter watches Hulu. So when The Harder They Fall came out on, remember it came out straight to streaming and was on HBO Max, and I wanted to see it, and I was like, oh, okay, look up HBO Max. It was like $16 a month. And I was like, $16 a month. Can I pay $16 a month? Absolutely. But I don't watch it enough to justify paying $1,600 a month. Now I got it for that month because if it was at the movies, it was going to cost us $50 to go to the movies and watch everything that I could on HBO Max that month. But then I canceled it because I don't just want to give my money to something. I would rather put that $16 per month to something else that fits what's important to me. So it's not even about, can I spend the money on a thing? It's about, is it important enough for me? And so having people go back and, well, where are we spending this money? And can you justify spending it here? Are you even using it? Or is it, you know, oh, it's just $9. But when you have 20, it's just $9 a month. It adds up and could go into that. I want to buy that really expensive thing. Or as my daughter said, y'all need another account for, I just got some money and I want to spend it. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we just take this quick little commercial break. Family, make sure you are liking and sharing this video. Family, because everyone that's looking at this deals with money. So send it to at least 3 people, family.
Yes.
And if you the little QR code is up there, and let me make sure I put the there right there, crystalgunn.me, because that way you can go and you can get your consultation. Can sit down, you guys can come up with a plan on how you want to work with each other, because the reality is that this is the work, this is part of the work that we need to do if we're talking about liberation for everybody, right? We got to get ourselves liberated within, and definitely money is a huge part of this, and we don't want to be in survival mode. Like that survival mode, oh man, it's not a good look. You can't dream when you're surviving. So family, make sure you like and share this video and send it to somebody. Okay, that's very, very important. And family, please get us, hit us up on the Cash App if you have it in your budget. Guys, I feel so, I forgot to take you off the stage to say this. But listen, if you got it in your budget, okay, please make sure, and thank you, Susan, for hitting us up, because this money, when you guys like donate money to us, it literally goes back into the hands of other Black people. It's just like if you've seen our film and we talked about, how long the dollar stays in the Black community, all of that. We make sure that we are keeping the dollars back into the Black community, and that we're doing things that can help all people. So family, We really need your support. We're getting ready to launch something very big this summer that everyone's going to want to take part in. So family, please hit us up on the Cash App or the Super Chat if you're on YouTube. And I think it's stars if you're on Facebook. And you can always go to our website. You can go to our website and hit like GoFundMe. But family, the most important thing is make sure you like it and share this video, because this is how we keep, like she's like, in fact, let me tell you, and make sure that you are actually following her also on Instagram, because those little nuggets, you're like, man, okay.
Yeah.
Tuesday, we're going to talk about the Tuesday liberation tools. But because I got on there one I was midway in filling out, I was like, and I'm good. Because I just wasn't, because sometimes you're not ready to hear the truth. You're not ready, right? And so we're really here to help you to get ready, because this is work we need just so we can just move forward. We got to do this work.
Can I just chime in for a minute when you were asking about the money? I just want to show you how our wounds just show up, right?
Mm.
We should never have to ask us for money, right? We should want to support, not even let me use the word support, because support me, like, it's not support. Like, I don't even like when people say, oh, you need to support Black business. No, that needs to be your first option, right? We shouldn't even have to ask, like, and again, I'm always saying this is not the fault of the individual, right? But when you have, okay, so one of the things I talk about are I talk about the wounds, but also these layers that's running in the background, right? So the individual layer, the inherited layer, the collective layer, the installed layer, and the extracted layer. And I want to talk about the extracted layer because, as you were saying, send us this money, yada, 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 right? Like I always say, I'm from Detroit. Hassan, I know, but it was relevant to the conversation. So like there is the the African American Museum here in Detroit, right? Every Black person should have a membership. It doesn't even cost a lot of money. Everyone should have a membership, right? Just because, I don't care if you don't ever even go. Everybody should have a membership. Why should they ever have to ask that question, right? So we also, like, there's so many organizations that do so much work in the Black community. Why are we not donating to those organizations? But we will go and spend all of our money with these individuals that don't look like us and ain't doing nothing for our community, right? So that's that extracted layer where what was taken from us has been repackaged, stripped of its origin, and returned as someone else's genius, someone else's brand, and builds billion-dollar industries for somebody else.
Yeah.
We got to get past doing that. We got to show up. So why am I going to go spend my money with? And I'm not saying don't buy Gucci, Louis, if that's what you want to. Like, I'm not saying that. But why are we not seeking out those luxury, high-end Black designers and putting them on? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we? Because them other people are building legacies for generations for their family. They ain't doing nothing for ours. And they show you that they don't even like us, but we still keep giving them money. So why do we have to ask us for money, right? That's that wound that says, you look like me. My money ain't right. So yours can't be right. So I don't trust you to give you my money because I don't trust me to take care of my own. So it's a wound that's running in that background that says, I can't contribute to these businesses that look like me or to these organizations that are run by people that look like me. And we do it for other people all day, every day. I'm sorry.
No, that's true.
No. You needed to hear that. You needed to hear that.
Yeah. And so again, it's not your fault. So I try to say that and give people the understanding why, but so then that they can say, you know what? I do that. And again, I'm not saying don't buy those other brands. I'm not saying don't do that. But why are we not doing that with us? Why are we always getting,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes to the programming. We're programmed to think that you know, the other person's brand is better,
Right.
you know.
And they done stole that brand from us.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And they didn't have people who built the brand that look like us. And then when we leave and start our own brand, we won't go we won't go utilize the people that brand, you know, and it's,
yeah, for sure. You know, before we get into some of your other ventures that you're a part of, what I want to ask you is, for a person that's going to come speak to you, just for a consultation, should they come fresh out, or should they come with some sort of intention, something that they might have done, like a prerequisite that they might have to do before they get to you?
Like they like when you schedule an appointment, it's just a question that kind of asks you, what do you want to talk about? Just so it kind of gives me some frame, right? But there is no there is no checklist that I'm going down. I don't have the same questions that I'm asking everybody. Again, it's intuitive. So what I'm listening and
Right.
what you're telling me is then going to drive the way that conversation goes. And I can easily see and hear, you know what I mean? Like what's going on just as you're telling me the thing. And sometimes people, sometimes people call me because they're like, wait, I love what you're talking about. And they're not even calling specifically about finances. They're like, wait, I need whatever it is that you're giving. I need that because it's going to help me get to my next level. And so the conversations just go as they go. But I'm going to tell you this, 30 minutes with me, and somebody said this, it was like 30 minutes with Crystal would change your life. And it like literally will definitely change the way that you look at you and the things that that's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great gift that you have.
Yeah, it is. And I don't take it lightly. Like I literally, I don't take it lightly at all. Yeah.
And she has the non-judgmental face. Like you need when you're
it's not like yours. It's not like yours. Forget about it.
You know, it's all because Detroit won. This is where this is coming from, because Detroit won. Because we're moving on to the next level. This is what we're getting, Hassan, anyway. No, but listen, when you're in a vulnerable situation, you do need someone that's just like, okay, like nothing. Like I could be like, I got 12 heads. She's like, okay, so look, we're gonna take some of these heads and put them over here, and we're gonna do this over here, you know, and that's really, that right there is a 100% gift. And family, I tell you, you know, a lot of times we don't think we can do a thing, right? You know, but it's like, but then doing the thing helps you get even more, you know, because listen, it's not free to just sit down with Crystal. And let me tell you, it's very, I hate to use the word affordable, because affordable to who? I mean, that's actually in our film when Charles Barron was like talking about, you know, the government making affordable homes. Affordable.
I don't even like that term.
Yeah, but it's really kind of like where you are in valuing like what you need, like getting the help, because then once you get this help, then you'll be able to take it and make even more. Like it's
And the consultation is free. So then it's like what are you like? Why are you not pulling the trigger on the consultation? The consultation is free, but it also goes back to, I'm so glad that you said that. So then when you have to pay to work with me, right? Like the ongoing thing, the question is never, right? Is it affordable or not? The question is, do you think that you are worthy of the healing that you're going to get when you're working with me? That's really the question. And you got to find value enough in yourself that you're going to invest in yourself. Again, we're going to go buy all of this other stuff, but we're not going to invest in our own healing and our own liberation.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a wound, so we have to heal the wound.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna actually take the Dr. Gunn, please. I received that.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
It'll even when you're talking to her, you say things, she's like, no, this is gonna be happening. Like it's just an assurance, and you know, that comes from confidence and just, you know, really living in purpose. So now on Tuesdays on your IG, you do these liberation tools. Can you just talk to us a little bit about like what are like some of the liberation tools that you've done?
Yeah. And
And
so because so many people carry the silence wound, right? Meaning I'm not going to go and talk about my finances. I'm not going to come to a free workshop or a paid workshop. Like I'm just not doing it. And please remind me, because we need to come back to that for a moment too. So I said, okay. So I'm building something called a Financial Wisdom Institute, right? And it's all about online learning, the classes, the master classes, the webinars, all about being able to micro learn things, but all about the tools. Healing your financial relationship or even putting together your financial plan, right, is daunting. But if you can get it in bits and pieces and do certain things, and then you accomplish that thing, and then it makes you want to do another thing. So I said, how can I give something to individuals every single week that they can do that's going to help move and get their financial houses in order? Tuesday liberation tools. And those tools, they're all digital and they are under $5. Nothing. So it's between $1 and $5 because I said liberation should not, be hidden behind an expensive paywall. Liberation is, if I want to liberate you, I want everybody to be able to get the tool. You might hesitate if the tool is $40. When trust me, the tool is worth $40. But I said, this is my work. And if I want to liberate the masses got to be able to get the tools, right? So there's things like you can go take the money quiz. You can go take the financial wounds. It's going to tell you what your wounds are.
That's not what I was in.
Why you got to look like that?
I just exited right on my I X'd that bitch out. Excuse me. I X'd it out. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I was like, yeah, we go. So yeah. He was asking too much. Like, but I don't know. But yes.
But that's holding that mirror up to you though, right? Yeah. So that you can then start to heal. So there's one out there called there's a deep roots one. And let me look them up real quick because I don't remember. There's a deep roots one that tells you what to do with your money. Where do you plant your money? Right? Because a lot of times, okay, I got some money. I want to say, what do I do with it? Okay, well, then I'm just going to tell you all of these different options because nobody's really telling you that, right? What then do you do for your children? What's that legacy play, right? How do you calculate? One of those has, I think it's Building Forward, has a, listen, let me do the thing that you got up on the screen. Hold on. Let's use the technology that you have right here.
Go ahead, right there.
There you go.
crystalgunn.me.
That will calculate and help you figure out where your money is going so that you can actually then go back and say, okay, well, now I do have this money that I can put in the savings. And then Deep Roots is going to tell you what to do and where to plant that money, right? So it's giving you this information that you might not know. Okay, so there's a Q1 money debrief. What did you do in Q1 with your money? Like, do you even know? Most people don't. Well, I gave you a tool that you can figure that out, right? Unburden, understanding and using and mastering your credit. Just a simple tool for you to do that. Deep Roots, a guide to planting your money. Building Forward, a plan to align, accumulate, and save. All of them are helping you do these things that are, again, and I said, listen, you can literally start to heal your money story in a year for less than, $100 if every week you're taking one of these tools and you're literally just doing the thing, right? And so, again, going back to that word affordable, my life, a manifesting guide. Like, how do you want to live your life, right? And so it's literally asking you how to do it. 22 areas of your existence. How do you want to do that? We're just floating through life, letting whatever happen to us, and not understanding the power that we have to create and manifest what we want to happen to us. We talking about liberation. Ain't nobody gonna give you liberation, right? So all of those tools. And then every once in a while, there are some things that are over $5 just because I also put out other things for knowledge and healing, things that you might not know or understand or whatever. Again, just to enlighten my people so we can be liberated.
And so what and you, because you brought up your you had brought up legacy and with children. Do you work with young adults, or like is there anything special you do with young people?
Girl, how young first is the question.
I'm thinking like teenagers, like high school.
No. So, okay. No.
You work with younger?
Huh? They need to be adults. Like they got to be over. Like because no, I don't really do a whole lot with yeah, I couldn't be a school teacher. So
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Say
Like,
less.
you're right. But when I talk about legacy, so young adults, yeah. So if you're in your 20s, for sure, I don't have any problem with that. But yeah, like I said, I couldn't be a school teacher, just because it is real interesting these days. But when I talk about one of the things, I am a licensed life insurance agent, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not out here just trying to sell you a policy. We're creating a plan for you, your family, and the next generations that follow. So you may come to me saying, okay, I don't need I need some life insurance. Okay. And let me say this, if you only have life insurance through your job, that's not enough. That's like the extra point. That's not we're not just having life insurance through our job, right? Because what happens when you leave and like all of the things, and it's typically a term policy, it's not building any wealth for you and your family. And so when you leave, when we have a consultation, yep, we're gonna make sure that we're securing the policies, but also you're leaving with a whole wealth plan for you and your family. Like, okay, let's get these children from 7 days after they're born into a policy that's building cash value, so they don't have to wait until you die to get some inheritance. That inheritance is also growing in their own cash value. You know what I mean? It's like, and then I'm showing you, okay, so every child that comes after that, that's born into this family for all of the next generations, this is what you need to do so that we can then just keep that money going. And then showing you what else is, okay, no one has a retirement plan. Let's create this strategy so I can show you what you can do with these policies and with these other things. Okay, you need a trust. Okay, then also things that are coming so that you can position you and your family to take advantage of the good economic things that are coming on your house. What are they talking about with income taxes and no tax on tips and all of these things? If you're not paying attention to that, you might not know. So sometimes you're going to go to somebody and you say, I need a life insurance policy, and they're just going to sell you a policy. You're not just getting a policy, you're getting a whole plan that says this is how we create wealth in this lifetime for our family and then for the generations that follow.
Are you licensed for to sell insurance only in Detroit or like in Michigan?
Girl,
So
no.
all over.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, family. We ain't got no excuse.
You don't have no excuse. And listen, if you call me and I'm not licensed in your area, it takes me 24 hours to get licensed in your area in order to be able to do the thing. Because it's what we need. Again, it's about liberation, and liberation doesn't come with you just getting a higher paycheck. That's not how this works.
Yeah. If the mind is not right, it's just So now, how can men and women work together more efficiently financially, like specifically in relationships?
So first of all, we gotta quit fighting in relationship. The man's supposed to do this, the woman's supposed to do this, yada yada yada, all of that piece that's going on, right? And so and we have to have conversations, and we have to put these expectations that the world said this is supposed to look like between this man and woman, right? And we have to figure out what happens and works inside of this relationship, because the things that work for you and yours didn't work for you and the one before you, right? So you got to figure out what that is, and you got to have conversations, and conversations has to happen before. If you get married, they got to happen before you get married, because there has to be an understanding of this is how we're going to operate. And you cannot tell this other individual that the way that they have been operating their entire life financially is wrong, because you operate differently. Y'all grew up in two different households. So your money stories and all of your money relationship was defined differently. So now you got to heal it and redefine it so that you can work together, or you gonna fail. And that's not just financially, it's in every area of your relationship.
Do you work with couples together, or you just, oh, okay.
Mhm.
Wow.
Girl, yeah, come get y'all money right. Like, come on. We like,
Yeah.
yes, because, and a lot of times we're not having those conversations. If you wasn't talking about money in the house when you grew up, you weren't talking about money with your friends and your family, you've never had a conversation with your partner about money, that means you're not talking about money in your house now. How do you build together if you're not? I'm not saying all your money has to go in the same bucket, but you all have to be on the same page for building wealth inside your family. And so how do we do that? We got to talk about it. It ain't just going to miraculously happen.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that I think you wanted to go back to something that you were you spoke about quickly, but I think it was about workshops. Did you want to say
workshops?
Workshops?
I don't know.
Well,
No, was it the credit workshops? You were seeing that.
I know in the past you've said that everyone should go to all workshops.
Listen, if I do a master class or a cohort, yeah, y'all need to be in it, because I'm giving you all of the things. I'm going to give you the hit. Like I did. Okay. So I did a Love the Legacy webinar, which you can watch the replay on YouTube. But people in that webinar was like, okay, I never knew this, because I took them back and watch this. So there's this thing called the shared frequency, right? Which basically just says that whatever we have this shared frequency of people, and I don't have to trace a thing necessarily back to my specific lineage, but we just know it as this collective, right? And it travels across lineages, continents, all of the thing. It doesn't matter. And so one of the things that I talked about in my Love the Legacy webinar, I think I might have talked about it in the Credit Unlock webinar too. Again, just because I like to show people what happened with the history, right? And so I tell the story of the Manila bands, the West African currency, right? And how they wore copper and brass bracelets, and that was the currency, right? And the more bracelets a woman wore meant the more money and wealth the family had, right? And they buried the people with their manila because they knew that their wealth was supposed to travel, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, we use life insurance for your wealth to travel through those next generations. Yeah. But I said, okay, this goes back to the shared frequency. I'm like, most people, or a ton of people, never heard about them stacking their bracelets. But don't we stack bangle bracelets all day long? Don't we wear multiple chains? That's not just a fashion trend. It's something that's coded in our DNA from that shared frequency, because we are all connected. So that's the type, but yep, we're going to talk about the thing, whether it's life insurance, whether it's credit, whatever it is. But you also going to get this other part that's showing you what we had, what we built, what we did before all of the things were co-opted and extracted, right? And then now we're part of this system that they just want every single thing from us and everybody else. But this is who we were, and this is how we operated. Again, showing you this is in you. This, you know what I mean? This stuff is nothing new. It's in you, and it's coded in you. Yeah, the trauma is there too, but on the flip side of that, everything that's good is also in you as well. And so, yeah, that's, you don't just get, we just going to talk about what makes up your credit. No, we're going to talk about this history too, so that you know how masterful we are. And that's what you come from. Whether you can trace it back to your lineage, your individual lineage or not, it's still coded in who you are. We've been pulled out of rhythm.
Yeah.
Everything is about getting us back in rhythm and healing and redefining our personal financial relationship for liberation. That's it. That's the work.
That's the work.
That's the work. And when you heal and redefine your personal financial relationship, every area of your life changes for the better, because the same stuff jacking up your finances is showing up in every other area of your life.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I literally don't remember, Hassan, what I wanted to say.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool. The Amazing Woman Network.
Yes. That's my work with inspiring and uniting Black women globally, under the pillars, which are the pillars of my life: reclaiming personal power, mind, body, and spirit, reclaiming financial power, and providing liberating social impact. That's what we do. Yeah. And I love it. And this year we're doing something like, again, women are so powerful. And we forget, because the rest of the world is telling us how we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to do, who we not, and all of the things. But womb, wealth, and wisdom, right? Again, everything is centered around that womb, and everything out there, all of the products, all of the things are designed to what? To destroy that womb.
Yep.
Well, why? Because we powerful. And if we go back and center to that womb, everything changes. You know what I mean? Like, and I believe Black women birth the world. We're going to be the ones that heal the world. Like, it just is not saying that we don't need the Black man, because we absolutely do. We cannot do the thing without it. But there is this incredible power with Black women. And when we stop buying into the narrative that the world has tried to feed us, we then become free. That narrative that we can't get along and we can't, what? Nope. But watch what happens when we do. We change everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that one.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Are you? I don't want to cut you off. You got something to say, V?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Are you still the vice president of the Detroit Black Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And what does that consist of?
So we are the Detroit chapter of the National Business League. And so we just ultimately try to make sure, from a business standpoint, what's happening in and around the city of Detroit, that we have seats at the table, we can get the funding, holding these banks and other organizations accountable for everything. And then, like, literally just feeding into everything that the National Business League is and does. So we're just the local chapter of a dynamic organization.
Yeah. And family, that's the organization that Dr. Ken Harris, he is the president of. I feel like we were part of his of his big convention or conference that he has in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it was either the second or the first one, or maybe it's the third one, and we came in and took part of that. Yeah, the National Business League is no joke.
Listen,
It was founded by Booker T. Washington.
It's no joke, and the mastermind of who Dr. Harris is and what he does and what he has done with that organization, and the impact that it has on its members is like, it's outstanding. It's absolutely outstanding. So if you are a business owner and you are not part of the National Business League, you need to get to be part of the National Business League for sure.
Yeah. He's the 1 million. We did a Juneteenth thing with him, and when he announced the getting I think it's a 1 million
digitizing 1 million.
Yeah.
And the information has just recently gone out about the conference this year, and it is all about AI this August. So yeah, if you're not traveling, if they're not traveling with you, they need to be at the conference in Atlanta for real.
Yeah, it's only you guys. Okay, fam, you only have two options: either be in the ATL with Dr. Harris, or be in Africa with HAPI. That's it.
That's it. Those are your only two options for the end of August, for sure.
Yeah, that's what's up.
So, so I think I heard you say a phrase. I don't know if I read it or I heard it. Soften where the world has hardened us.
Was that me? I'll take it. I probably said it.
Well, no, actually, when I was reading earlier, you mentioned something about soft. I just want to go back to that.
That's probably about the women. Was it around the women?
Got you. Yeah, yeah.
So, if you look on social media, you'll hear all of this stuff about soft life, right? So, yeah.
You said soft light?
Soft life, LIFE, right?
What is that? I never
women, right? So you'll hear them talk about they want their soft life, but when you see a lot of women that are talking about it, they're talking about it from an aspect of, they want to shop, they want the pedicures, the manicures, and all of that things, and they just want, and that's cool. I'm not saying that's not a thing, but I'm saying, okay, why isn't all of our life soft, right? Why are we not easing into our mornings? Why are we not easing out of our day? Why is the masculine energy in us the thing that we're running on all day, every day? Part of it is because of conditioning, right? And that's, again, being taken out of rhythm. But it's like, okay, how do we just design that every day of our life is soft? Because when we stop chasing, performing, and producing, and we step into our feminine energy, life just becomes different. Now we don't have to chase. Now we don't have to grind. This whole grind culture says you're supposed to be, before sun up and sundown. No, I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me right now? We're not doing that. And if we've been pulled out of rhythm. If we go back into the rhythm, we are receivers by nature. Look how we're made, right? We're receivers by nature, and we can create and manifest easily, but you cannot do that when you are constantly eating the wrong foods, when you are using products that are disrupting your hormones, when you are buying into the narrative that you got to pay the cost to be the boss, and nope. How about we just go back to how we operate in the divine feminine, and then see what happens? And that's the soft life that I'm talking about, not this one that, because then that changes everything. When we operate from our true divine feminine, that just changes everything. But if we're living in survival mode, guess what we can't do? Operate that way.
We can't even think to operate any other way. Like that's even an option.
What do you I have one last question as we wind down, being that we're talking about the women's empowerment. What are some unique or different financial challenges that women face that don't normally get talked about enough?
So it's interesting. Women are, and it's nothing wrong with this. So before, I don't want anybody to think that they have to defend the thing. It's just how we're made, right? We are emotional, as we should be. We are nurturers, as we should be. We are the first teachers of our children and all of the things, right? So when you talk about some of those challenges, a lot of times that giver wound shows up, right? So you have very old, grown children, and emergencies show up for your children, and you feel like you have to save them every single time. I'm not saying that you don't save them, but if you have to save them at the expense of them not getting their financial house in order, then now you can't get your financial house in order, because every emergency they have, you're coming to their defense, right? And so it winds up being things like that more than, just a challenge because we're women. And I'm sorry, the other one is, they're not going to pay us enough money. That whole disparity as well. But things probably impact our money stories more than a thing might impact men's financial. I talk differently to men than I do to women, because a woman is going to typically disclose more information, and a man just wants to typically just know, how do I fix the problem? How do we create this design? And let's just move on. We don't want to talk about all of that other stuff. And so I don't necessarily know that things impact them more other than just differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different impact because men are problem solvers. You're gonna solve the problem. You don't necessarily want to, let me just solve the problem.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. We ain't gotta have a whole bunch of conversation about it. Let's just solve the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, I feel like I just have to say, I have to say this piece. We also cannot take responsibility for grown people, for grown men. So sometimes that individual layer plus these wounds where you start saying, I'm going to get this car in my name for some other grown man, or you're letting him move into your house and there's no responsibility. Like, you got to go back and check that and figure out why is that a thing, and why is it that you're allowing the thing? And when you heal whatever wound is driving those things, everything then changes, and those type of individuals won't even come your way because the frequency at what you're vibrating at doesn't attract that sort of thing.
You know what? That's interesting. You bring up that example. Does it ever? Are you? Well, first, do you have like just men clients?
Very few, like
Okay.
couples, but very few
Just men.
just single men. Now, I'm gonna tell you though, but the men that I have, I'm gonna say are more conscious, if you know what I mean. Like,
Okay.
they are just looking at things totally differently anyway.
Okay. Because like when you gave that example, and I was thinking like some of the and I was just talking to one of my friends about this the other day. It's like I'm very blessed to have really good like Black men around me, like in all my different spaces. But like one of them actually kind of brought that same thing, and he was just like, no, like having, he was like, well, but socially, people would say it's more acceptable for a man to have a woman move in and put his name in the car and all that stuff. But like, it's interesting, like you telling it from a woman's perspective, but I wonder, is that transferable? Like, can it be from a man's perspective that's not okay?
So, okay, so watch this.
Yeah.
So a man moving into your space, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But are you coming into, and a woman moving into man? The thing is, you have to ask yourself, are you an asset or a liability? If you're an asset, it doesn't matter which way it goes. But if you are a liability, meaning you want this person to take care of, spend all of their money on a thing, yada yada, then now you're a liability, just like that light bill.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. You don't want to be a liability. Family, you don't want to be a liability.
Right. Like,
I like
you
that.
cannot come into my world and not help to elevate me. And if you're just draining on me mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually, emotionally, and financially, you're an asset. And I mean, you're a liability. And I don't really like liabilities. So what are you? What are you to somebody? And the thing that's always very interesting is we want these individuals who, are this certain type of individual that has all of these things, does all of this. It's like, okay, where do you fit in that though? Like the same requirements that you are requiring of this other individual, can you help to build on that even if you don't have those same requirements? Like, how are we coming together and elevating? And my brother said something very interesting just yesterday. How are we experiencing life together? And if this union doesn't make the experience of life better for both parties, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right. And it's not even, this role, or, this person is supposed to do this thing because they're this gender, but it's just necessarily, how are we positively impacting each other so that we can experience life together in a great way.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm always like, I hear, people will have like a long list of things. Have you ever had girlfriends like say, oh, they need to be this, and that? And I was like, oh my God, like your credit score is like 400. How are you? Like, I'm
You
just
want
like,
somebody with an 850? Like, come on, man. What are we doing right now?
But I listen, I remember having a conversation with somebody and saying that I wanted, I like for what's the word? Like consistency, and and midway as I'm saying this, I was like, wait, I'm not consistent. I'm not consistent going to the gym. I was like, so how I look at, and so that kind of really, put, because these are all the buzzwords that if you have a phone and social media, it comes up all the time. Consistency, chase, soft life, like all these things. And so I started thinking about this idea of consistency. I was like, wait, but I ain't even consistent.
I ain't even consistent. How I want somebody else to be consistent, right?
Yeah.
How do I have a higher expectation of somebody else than I have of myself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay. And here's the other thing. So have your list. I think you should have your list, because we get to manifest the person that we want, right? But like you said, you're going down this list and you're not even the thing. But then let's say you get the person and like put 46 things on the list. If it's 46 things, because I believe we can manifest that person who has all of those things. But you also have to make sure that you can hold it. So he comes, or the opportunity or whatever it is, can I hold on to it?
Yeah.
And that means I have to be at a certain level. I have to be healed. I have to do all of the things. And we can go back to what happened with the, with the head coaches at U of M and Michigan State. You have this great opportunity and then you get jacked up. So the opportunity came, but you couldn't hold on to the opportunity because of all of these other things. You got to clean up all of them other things so that you can hold on to the opportunity that you're even asking for, or for the mate that you're even asking for.
Yeah. Listen, family, look right there. You got it. Listen, get the QR code, go to crystalgunn.me. I saw a few people. I saw Serinda in here. So she's like, I got my appointment. Somebody else was like, I got my appointment. Because family, this is what it is. Cleaning up all the stuff so that you can hold what it is that you were meant to have, and that we've had, like you said, it's been in us forever. Right? And so, this is a way in which look, this is why I love Happy Talks, because this is why we're doing Happy Talks, right? Is to bring different ways to the family so that we can work on economics, culture, and politics, like those three things. And this is right here, family. This is the economics piece. And if we want to, do all the things, and then she's not telling you that you can't do all the things, but we got to get the foundation piece together so that we can be able to hold those things, and that we can be able to then teach other people, and leave legacy. Like this is good. This is good. Thank you, Ms. Gunn.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now, do you have anything else you want to maybe add or just say before we close the show? Like anything you want that we didn't touch on that you might want to just,
that is all possible. Somebody is listening and like, yeah, I don't think I can do that. I'm just like, yes, you can. Like, you just absolutely can. You just have to take the first step. And however your financial situation looks, it didn't get that way in the last week, right? It took years to get it that way, right? And so when you start to, that's why I say it's a path to liberation. Liberation just don't show up. It's a path that you have to walk, but it's such a worthy path that every step along the way, it's like, you cannot, if you're at the bottom of the steps, you just can't jump to the next landing, right? You got to take the steps. Now, you might be able to take 2 steps at a time, but you just can't jump to that next landing. And sometimes you just quit trying to figure it out and just come get some help. Like, just because if you haven't been, I've had people say, well, I need to fix some stuff before I come see you. Listen, if you could have fixed it, you would have fixed it before. And getting the help is a power move. It's not saying that, you're not smart, you're not worthy. It's really a power move. And it's it's an act of self-love.
Yeah, I like that. It's a power move, and it's just like anything else. Like if you had, if something happened, with your leg, you're not gonna be like, let me try to get my leg together before I go see the PT. You're going to get, you're gonna get the physical therapist. You can get all the stuff, the acupuncture. You can get everyone so that you can then, walk and run and get back to whatever you were doing. So I like that piece. But I tell you, family, listen, the best things are things that are hard at times.
Yeah.
I was joking with Miss Gunn before we got on, and I said she sent a little homework, because in the beginning she's like, "Look, I don't do Mondays and Fridays. I don't work there." And I was like, just right there, I was like, "Yeah, I'm about to have that life right there. I ain't working Monday and Friday either." Like, I'm telling you, but see, those are the things that you need to hear when you're trying to heal and get to the next level. You need to hear somebody say, "I ain't working Monday and Friday." Because then you start thinking about your life differently. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like little things here and there. But she sent the first a homework assignment, and I was like, damn. And it was called little reclamation work. I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm already I done said it on the Happy Talks. I done solidified this with Miss Gunn. So it is what it is. So family, if you don't see a sister, check on her. If you see me just in New York, just check on me. But yeah, fam, I'm really excited. Thank you. And look, this is not the first conversation we're going to be having with Crystal. We are super excited that we have this relationship that's budding, and this is great. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is the work. It's what I love, as you can tell. And give me the opportunity to talk about it. We're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it.
Yeah. I can definitely tell that this is your passion, and this is something that you truly love to do.
Yeah.
To see somebody get to the other side, to see somebody heal their thing, it is nothing like it for me. Because it's my calling. It's the thing that I'm supposed to do, and I love every bit of it. I love it.
Definitely. And plus, you've worked everywhere. You did have a mortgage company. You was doing taxes. You were doing a finance. You did everything. You did all the things. And so it's nice because it's not like we're just talking to somebody who's like, "Oh, I just studied history." No, you've done a plethora of things.
And I realized that I had to do like if you just tell the story and be like, "Oh yeah, I worked here for 3 years. I did this. I had this business for," people will be like, "Well, wait a minute, what?" But I had to experience all of those things
absolutely
in order to be able to do this today. So it was the path that I created in order to be able to do this work.
Yeah. And where you don't work on Mondays and Fridays, family. Yes. You don't work on Mondays and Fridays. So we got to get off the Happy Talks because Hassan and I got to work tomorrow. I'm just saying.
On Monday.
So I'm going to be doing work, but just not with people.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Even listen, slow mornings. Like I tell you, those are all concepts of when you're in this mode of just trying to make it. You can't even possibly
think about it. You can't even think that my phone is on Do Not Disturb from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. Like I'm not even talking to anybody before 10 a.m. That's my time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you then go, and part of that, it goes back to why I say, how do you want to live your life for the rest of your life? Because we're going to create the plan in order for you to be able to do that. But you have to know, because some people might say, well, no, I don't, that's not my thing. But what is your thing? And it's just like if you said, well, I want to go on vacation, give me directions because we're going to drive. I got to ask you where you want to go, because the directions to New York are very different than the directions to California. Yep. So we got to know where you want to go so that we can build it out so that you can get there. So how you want to live your life? Think about it, y'all.
Yeah. Okay, family. So right there, crystalgunn.me. Okay, crystalgunn.me. Make sure you're following her on IG. Are you on Facebook too?
I am. Yep.
Okay, yeah, Facebook, IG, and I'm gonna make sure we put it in there. We also in the newsletter, we're gonna put this information in here with a link to this show and all the things to get a hold of Ms. Gunn, because this is important work. This is the foundation work that we're talking about when we're talking about healing our community and being liberated. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we're just going to put you in behind the green room. If you can just stick around. Well, you ain't got to work tomorrow, so you can probably stick around for like 5 minutes while Hassan and I should, close the show. I think you'll be good, okay, for the 5 minutes. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, fam. Yeah, listen, this is exciting. We love these shows where people they got the plan to get your stuff together. She got the plan, family, make sure that you are supporting. Let me see. Before we leave, I just want to talk one more time about the trip that we have coming up, family. 3 signature experiences, 1 sacred journey. 3 signature experiences, 1 sacred journey. Listen, y'all got to call Crystal right now so y'all can get y'all a little money together so you can be able to get on this trip. I'm telling you, this is, when we go on these trips, so many things happen. Like you don't come back the same way you left. And every single person has a different experience. But one thing I can guarantee is that you will have an experience. So the first trip we have is Senegal, Ghana, and Togo. And that's from August 20th to August 30th. Then we also have a Senegal and Morocco trip, which is August 25th to September 1st. And then we have one where you hit all 4 countries. That's Senegal, Morocco, Ghana, and Togo. And that one is from August 20th through August 20th to September 1st. And the cool thing about this is that on any of these trips, okay, we will all meet up in Senegal. And in Senegal, we will also have Robin Walker there, that's just like icing on the cake. This man is such a lovely historian. He's going to be there. He's going to walk us through a museum and some other things. And then we're going to continue the Trail of the Moors down to Morocco. If going to continue that trip. Also, if you happen to be there, we're going to be partying for my birthday, first time celebrate my birthday in Africa. So that's going to be fun. And yeah, family, the trip price includes everything. It's travel from the United States to Africa. And when I say United States, we're leaving from Newark. If you're going to take the first trip, which is Ghana, Togo, and Senegal, we're going to be leaving from Newark, but we fly back into JFK. And all the other trips to Senegal and Morocco, or if you're going to do all 4 countries, Senegal and Morocco is the only one that leaves from JFK and comes back to JFK. If you're going to do the 4 countries or the 3 countries, we all leave from Newark and then we come back into JFK. But that price includes everything, okay, except for tips and the visa. That's it. Those 2 things, and we make sure that you get your visa process for both Ghana and for Togo. The other 2 countries, you don't need a visa, and it includes food, your hotel stay, and we stay in nice hotels. We do either a 4-star or a 5-star, because we are HAPI, and we can't be at little spots trying to get ourselves together. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that?
No, just I just want to add that it's an investment to your life. If you bring your kids, it's an investment for your kids' life for the future. This is something that is very impactful, specifically for the kids. Very impactful. Take it from me. I've experienced it with my kids.
Yeah, me too. My kids, they love Africa.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what's up. They didn't want to go at first until they got there. Then they didn't want to leave. They were very emotional about leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. Yep. So family, you can go to iCatTours.com. If you want to get more information, our phone number's on there. Call us up. We can have a conversation. But yeah, family, this is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yes.
All right.
Well, family, thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending your time with us. We value your time, and with that, we want to add value to you. Like we don't want to be the liability. Put it that way.
Exactly. I like that. You know, so everything's like, look, you a liability or you an asset?
Yeah.
Like, what we doing here? Because
We don't
Crystal
want to
Gunn
do it.
said,
That's
are
right.
you a liability or an asset? I like
Yes,
that.
no, indeed. So,
Yeah.
get in contact with Crystal Gunn, see what kind of work you may need in your life, spiritually, financially, emotionally. I'm pretty sure a lot of things that come out, but it'll be helpful. Once those things come out, you know how to respond to it. And even if you don't respond to it in a way that you thought you would, it'll be helpful because it's coming out and you know what to do at that point. So contact Crystal Gunn. Don't be a liability. Matter of fact, when you get off of here, I want you to go on her website. After you go on her website, I want you to listen to a song by Lettucey called Add to Me. All right.
Mm.
That'll tell you everything you need to know. Add to me. All right, Lettucey.
Yeah, so look, we about to just change Crystal Gunn's her whole little tagline, everything.
Yeah.
Are you an asset or a liability? And we need to have the Lettucey song playing in the background.
Sure indeed. Sure
There it
indeed.
is. I like that. I like that.
Well, thank you, family. We see y'all next week. All right.
All
Stay
right.
happy. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Economics and politics are the foundation of human development.
While forming the world's earliest civilizations, Africans also laid the groundwork for the creation of economic systems.
By learning from our history, we gain the strength to empower the present and design the future. Presenting the premier forum for truth, culture, and change. HAPI Talks. Join us as we unlock the secrets to our success.